But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the Hasbara, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Be kind to the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, banking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. How is everybody doing, chat? I say everybody seemed to enjoy having the stream bookended by porcupines this last time. I was thinking to myself, I really should have started doing that earlier. Because, I mean, let's face it, we talk about some pretty grim shit on this channel, and because there's just grim shit going on all around us. And it doesn't hurt to be reminded of porcupines. So I'm gonna try to do more of that, actually. And so, as we get started, let me find the right window. Okay. Oh, I'm glad to hear it, Adrien. Always very important to hit the like button and the notification bell and put it in your chat groups and your Facebook groups and...
Yeah, I think Teddy Bear found some pumpkins for Halloween. What'd you find, Ted?
They make the best sounds. I'm just
Pick it
gonna
up. Can you get it?
drop a link
Pick it
in
up.
chat to this channel for anyone who wants to explore it further.
Good boy. Oh, what is it, Teddy? Pumpkin? Can you say pumpkin?
God, you sound like cartoon characters.
It looks good.
Shut up, I'm eating. Man, just the way he holds it. It reminds me of Sims. The way the Sims talk in the game.
Yum yum.
Yeah, I could listen to this for a long time.
I think you finished that one. Here's
Impressive
another
faces.
one. I'll put it right here. Okay. You're welcome.
It just kind of sounded like they said thanks.
What do you think, Teddy? Is that as good as pumpkin pie? Pretty good stuff?
It looks like he's going to send you on a side quest.
Good boy, Teddy.
There we go.
This is Teddy, one of our North American...
So, I just thought we'd start out with a little bit of that. As we move on to... Now, yesterday we were looking at Kaitlyn Bennett of Liberty Hangout going around to college campuses and getting dunked on. Hello, River Rune. This time I thought we might possibly either continue with a little bit more of Kaitlyn Bennett walking around and getting dunked on and for some reason not editing it out. Although there's also been just some developments in what an absolute scumbag Steve the Destiny turns out to be. And that also comes to mind. Oh, we kind of went through all of the ones that I could find. Although, I certainly would be open if somebody finds more of them. We've also got Ashira from the Zionist clone of the View, explaining why Zionists are so intent on keeping anti-Semitism and racism separate. And that might be quite interesting. They might say a few quiet parts out loud in there. Okay, we're gonna start out with... This is a President Sunday video. Ah, bueno, no sé. Es que no conozco al creador. Por eso es un poco difícil decir. Porque aquí siempre estamos comentando un determinado tipo de video. Y Ryan Macbeth no me suena. But okay, here we go.
In this video, I'm going to tell you a story about a man. It's a story...
Spinoza. I just got done translating a book that dealt heavily with the philosophical dialogue between Althusser and Spinoza in the early post-war period.
That has been replicated over and over and over in government, in show business, in business boardrooms, restaurant franchises. This time, it's about a man with a small social media empire on YouTube. A man who uses his clout and his fame to lure mentally and financially vulnerable women from his community into sexual encounters which he records and then, without their consent, shares with others. It's about how that man...
let's... I'm gonna just... Little bit of a content warning here. From what I've seen from watching a few other things on what's on this, there's gonna be some discussion of revenge porn and shit like that. He threatened to annex Greenland. No, I did not. Hey, imperialism bad. No, I did not see that shit. I mean, that's... Yeah, I mean... Fitting that he would be threatening to annex one of the few, practically the only Inuit territory that has any real self-government at all. I mean, or anything even approaching it. That's just very on brand for the U.S., that they would want to be stamping out any kind of indigenous self-government in the area, even if it is self-government under Danish occupation.
Developed such a stranglehold over his community that no one, no matter how disgusted they are, will dare call him out for this, even when it becomes public knowledge. And most importantly, this is a story about power, and of how normal human feelings can be contorted to serve a machine to make a man immune to the effects of the abuse he has inflicted on an astonishing number of people.
Yeah, I mean, and I have to say one thing about Steve the Destiny that absolutely has always creeped me out is how he can talk about the most, like, hideous things, and it clearly just leaves him cold. He clearly just doesn't give a fuck. Nothing surprises me about him. I have to say, I mean, nice production.
Stephen Bennett II, or as he's known online, Destiny, is a highly successful political streamer and content creator.
And just a complete asshole. Just, I mean, it's interesting because he has this, like, his grift and the grift of a number of other, like, shitty debate streamers is, like, they're de-radicalizing people. Except the thing is, the only people they really de-radicalize is, like, leftists. And one of the things, I don't know if this is going to get in here, going to be mentioned in here, is it turns out Steve the Destiny, the guy who, we're supposed to send money to because he de-radicalizes Nazis, is literally in bed with various of them.
Who has garnered infamy not just for public outbursts and controversial political positions, but also for an impressive number of public threats, sexual scandals, and even outright criminal actions. This recently culminated on November 29th of 2024, when an anonymous Discord...
I'm glad he showed us the calendar.
...and Kiwi Farms user going by the name Solo Leaks published a large repository of private messages and pornographic images.
I mean, it sort of fits that a lot of this stuff would be coming from that Nazi-ass site.
And videos of Destiny with various men and women to Discord and Kiwi Farms. Recordings that Destiny had shared to strangers without the consent of the people in them. It's important to note that this is not the first time that Destiny has been the subject of a large sexual scandal involving non-consensually leaked intimate material. All the way back in 2012, Destiny was caught up in a scandal involving a competitive StarCraft 2 player called Blue T, who had tweeted out a photo of his genitals. This was in retaliation for Destiny previously leaking nude images of her to his friends on Skype, wherein he laughed at how, quote-unquote,
she tweeted out...
fucking hideous.
Like, is that doing more harm to Destiny or to people who don't need a Destiny dick pic? I don't think I want to see Destiny's genitals.
Her face was compared
even if
to
I
her
know it makes him very
beautiful body.
That I am.
In 2021, Destiny had a romantic entanglement with a YouTube streamer named Anna Voir. Anna would go on to become known for insisting, often tearfully, that she was actually in a long-term romantic relationship with Destiny, which Destiny denied.
I mean, of course, the one thing that I would see, I mean, could you really call it romantic? Like, there's nothing romantic about that motherfucker.
Painting her as crazy to his audience. It was later revealed that in fact, while Destiny was insisting to his audience that Anna was insane, he was actually sexting her the entire time, and referring to her with terms such as princess in their conversations. Anna threatened to post these sexually charged texts to prove that she wasn't crazy and that this was all actually taking place. And in retaliation, Destiny threatened in public to leak her nude photos if she did so.
Like, if you and I had, like, sexted or something, or traded nude...
Wait a second. Okay, that's just... I mean, apart from just how fucking just evil and abusive that is, it's like... The thing that jumps out at me is... Okay, so he's been insisting to his audience that she's just some sort of stalker who has, like... mentally fabulated a fucking relationship with him that doesn't exist. And she responded by pointing out that actually they've been sexting the whole time. Okay, exposing him. In what world is it better for him to point out, to, like, release a bunch of intimate photos of this woman that supposedly he claims he, never met, like Prince Andrew?
and you were like, I'm gonna leak your nudes. And I go, fuck you, if you leak my nudes, I'm gonna leak your nudes. Is that like blackmail? Or is that like abusive? I disagree.
So do you think that leaking sexting
Wow,
and
God, what a
leaking
piece of
nudes...
shit. Why, like, imagine, what gets me about this is he says this out loud. Like, I mean, and this guy, we're supposed to care what he thinks about anything. We're supposed to, like, take him seriously when he explains to us why what's going on in Gaza isn't fucking genocide. And he's sitting here like, yeah, I mean, I don't think revenge porn is abusive. I mean, what are you gonna do? Sometimes people insist on pointing out that you have a relationship with them when you want to lie about that and libel them. Well, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, Jesus Christ.
Is proportional, or do you think it's a proportional response in the way that you're reacting to that?
I think it's about proportional. Because you're leaking like sexual material and shit from another person. Yeah, fuck it, I think it's proportional.
Destiny has also at least once admitted to accidentally sending homemade videos of him and his wife to people who his wife did not in advance approve of in accordance
God, who marries this prick?
with a previous agreement that he wouldn't.
Me and Melina had a conversation about, there were a few girls that we talked to, it was like, oh cool, like we should record videos of like us fucking shit and send it to people, like it's fun. I kind of like have like
he just openly fucking says this shit. I
a little archive of like Coomer material that I'll send to people if I want to. There were girls that I talked to past that I'd send stuff of like either me or Melina, and Melina talked to me and she was like, hey, if you're gonna send any videos to new girls that we haven't talked about, like let me know that first.
Fucking hell.
Because she wanted to be careful. And so I was like, oh, okay, sure, that's fine. I didn't think of it at the time because I didn't think it mattered, but for the first thing, like, okay, yeah, I should have like checked 100% with Melina, but like this.
Other examples of threats and sexual misconduct made by Destiny are plentiful, but the general point is this. Destiny has a very bad history when it comes to sharing intimate material of people that he is sexually involved with without their consent, and of using the threat of their release to keep people in line. If this brings a certain Diddy to mind, you are not alone. Like with Diddy, when people speak out about Destiny's misconduct, the responses vary from silence to dismissal to out.
Like, Jesus. They got this guy's... Yeah, apparently he just talks about this shit on stream. So it's not even like this is some big fucking reveal. He just fucking says this stuff.
Outright threats of exposing their intimate information and media. Unlike with Diddy, these aren't just allegations. We have the receipts. In 2023, Destiny's wife Melina publicly separated from him. In
good decision.
response, Destiny went on stream and indicated multiple times that he was confident that Melina would not leak any unsavory details about the relationship to the public because he too had compromising information on her.
That's not... God... I mean, just apart from the... Like, that's just so fucking... You know, the whole point of the mutually assured destruction thing is that nobody talks about the stuff that they can release. You completely defeat the purpose if you say, well, if she leaks all the horrible shit that I did, I'm gonna leak all the fucked up shit about her. The whole point is that nobody talks about the fucked up shit that the other person has, because otherwise why would it matter if they leak it because you just fucking admitted it?
Her and logs that would seriously harm Melina's reputation if they were revealed. Whereas, since his reputation around relationships was already so low, he would be effectively immune to the consequences.
Why do you think that she isn't going to leak or talk shit? Melina will not leak or talk shit about any of this because she knows that everything about this makes her look like a f***ing satanic demon. She knows that.
Like, but now there's no reason for her not to, because you just came. And the whole fucking point is that that it allows you to pretend that the material doesn't exist.
She's threatened it a million times, like, I'm gonna start leaking everything.
I mean, he's unblackmailable because he clearly has no fucking shame. He has clearly just no fucking standards. Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Okay, if you really want to, holy because my reputation is already 0 in regards to our relationship. Everything's...
Also, ist der Ruf erst ruiniert, lebt sich's völlig ungeniert oder so? Jesus.
I'm a horrible piece of shit. We want to start leaking...
Well, yeah, I mean, no argument here. That's like the true... That's the first time that I've heard Destiny say something that I will wholeheartedly agree with.
Holy because my reputation is already 0 in regards to our relationship. Everybody thinks I'm a horrible piece of shit. We want to start leaking shit.
Because you are.
Fast forward to November 2024. Due to the solo leaks, it has come to light that Destiny has been sharing intimate private messages, nude images, and pornographic videos with a 19-year-old OnlyFans creator called Rose, who he was sexually interested in at the time. Rose leaked these to a Discord and Kiwi Farms user called Solo Leaks, who may, for all we know, be Rose herself, who then published them to Discord and to Kiwi Farms. These leaks included intimate romantic and sexual DMs between Destiny and Lauren Southern, who
Okay, we are getting into the fact that he is just literally in bed with Nazis.
Destiny had long denied being romantic.
Yeah, I mean, which is a great look. It's a wonderful look when you decide to brand yourself as the... That's not genocide, because it's not made in the genocide region of France. It's just sparkling slaughter.
Involved with, while she became increasingly present in his public personal life and on stream, despite being publicly at odds with each other politically on the surface. Destiny even once described her activism as involving, quote-unquote, drowning refugees.
Yeah, which is not I should say, an exaggeration. She went out with neo-Nazis on the Mediterranean, or at least that was the plan. I don't know. I think she might have been stopped before she actually did it. And the idea was to actually prevent refugees on the Med, tens of thousands of whom are killed by Frontex every year, to prevent them getting to safety and claiming asylum, as is their right. Like, she is an absolute horrible piece of shit.
These DMs revealed that, in fact, Destiny and Lauren Southern had been mutually declaring their love and admiration.
Oh, okay. Lauren S. Okay, I'm gonna read that. You're basically asking if you can argue me out of this cry-laughing emoji. And I feel like I'm setting myself for failure if I say yes. Like, obviously I chose you. Why? Well, she sucks too, that's why. I wanted to be with you. Uh-huh. Well, no, why? I would have never gone on another date if that's what you wanted. You've been super transparent about not wanting the same things I do in life. That's heartbreaking because obviously we have something incredibly special. Oh, Eva Braun. I really appreciate your honesty though, because Jesus.
For each other.
Like, Jesus.
Including expressing intentions to separate from the respective partners to marry each other. All of this was happening behind the scenes, despite Destiny publicly claiming to his audience that he and Lauren were not involved, and while he was publicly accusing his wife...
I don't want to leak every single detail or issue relating to problems we've had, but Mel would get upset sometimes if I did a lot of content with streamers. LS was one of them, but there were others too that you can probably guess. That's the LS drama Pepe Laugh. That's my Destiny impression, Jesus.
Melina of lying and of being controlling privately when she would express displeasure about the relationship and when she requested that Destiny stop associating with Southern. In addition to these leaks, which not only severely compromised Lauren Southern's career and personal life, but also established...
Wait. It harmed her career and personal life, but not his? Like... What kind of audience has he cultivated that the fact that he is like sleeping with a neo-Nazi and talking about leaving his fucking wife for her doesn't immediately make everyone say, wait, you're completely full of shit?
That Destiny was lying when he accused his wife of being delusional and controlling about the affair. Solo Leaks also published a massive dump of revenge pornography, which featured various sexual encounters with numerous men and women that Destiny had recorded and sent to Rose as part of their flirtations, which incidentally
it's part of their what the fuck kind of flirtation is that? How is that part of the so hey, how you doing? Yeah. I was just thinking about inviting you out to dinner, or like maybe on Friday, but I was thinking, you know, I know you haven't got time until then, but would you like to look at all of the compromat that I've collected on all the other women I've ever been with? I'll just send it to you. Like, how do you see that? How is that the flirtation? That's when you run. Like, he's telling you that that this is what he's gonna fucking do to you, actually.
References to how he recorded other people not included in the dump.
I mean, and this is what he was getting up to at the same time as, like, making money denying genocide in Gaza. It's worth noting. I mean, look at these dates. April 2023. So, like, around the time that he was going around doing the circuit, embarrassing, being so cringe that even Benny Morris felt uncomfortable around him, to, like, defend a literal fucking genocide. This is what he's doing in the background. Yeah, he's a barf guy. He's one of those barf guys.
Including a recording of a sexual encounter with someone he met on the gay dating app Grindr, with no mention of having alerted this person to the fact that they were being recorded. Note, it is a felony to record sex acts without consent in the state of Florida. So to recap, Destiny, who has a long history of threatening associates, friends, and family with public humiliation and exposure through releasing revenge pornography and intimate messages, actually did leak a tremendous quantity of compromising, sexually humiliating messages, images, and videos featuring other people to at least one person without their consent.
I mean, also possibly without the consent of the recipient. I mean, like, leaving aside whether, even if he had the consent of the people he was leaking, like, I mean, remember, this was apparently part of the flirtation. Like, I mean, think about that. Let's assume that he had all the consent that he needed, you know, from the people who were in the videos and shit. And, you know, he's chatting up some woman, and, you know, early stages of the relationship, and he decides he's going to show her all that shit. Like, that's still fucked up, actually. That's still, like, that's as many red flags as you will find on May 1st in Pyongyang.
These were then publicly leaked, and the reaction has been total silence. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about, like, these sort of parasocial communities and things, because I remember in a video that Thought Slime and Sophie from Mars did ages ago on Caleb Muppet, they were talking about how he uses a self-selection mechanism. He says shit that is going to cause certain people, like people with any kind of discernment at all or any kind of knowledge of the things he's talking about, to opt out and say, yeah, no, this ain't it, I'm getting out of here. Leaving only dickheads and easily influenced people, and people like really eager for approval or whatever, or for a sense of belonging or whatever, who will just put up with just pretty much anything that he says just to be a part of something, or just because he, you know, would like love bomb people and stuff like that, which we know he does. I mean, and that's how you get an audience where he can talk this openly about this horrible, creepy, fucked up shit. And, like, his chat doesn't, like, empty out immediately.
Historically, Destiny has always been boldly willing to threaten leaking private, intimate material, such as during his separation from his wife, or to expose nude images to retaliate against women he was slandering, like Anna, or even just for the sheer pleasure of it, as in the case of Blue Tea mentioned earlier, where the only purpose was revenge. This time, however, somehow, there is nothing. Not by Destiny, nor by anybody else. No streams, no video exposés, no tweets by any notable figures denouncing what is an obvious massive breach in ethics and consent.
I mean, I suppose probably at this point, I mean, as he himself said, as Destiny himself fucking said, his reputation is shit already. So, I mean, I guess a lot of the people who knew about this stuff would be like, yeah, I mean, this isn't exactly new. Everybody knows he's a piece of shit. Although I will say, I didn't know any of that. Let me just say, there are people who, if you told me about this, I would have trouble believing it. Like, because it just does not sort of mesh with what I have gleaned about the sort of person they are and the sort of things they do. Right? But, like, you could basically tell me any kind of evil shit that Destiny does. Because he has that sort of even-keeled, de-gaff kind of look to him when talking about the most evil shit. Like, he just clearly, all he cares about is using it as, like, debate prep and everything. And somebody who has, like, no capability of outrage when it comes to that, who has, like, no shame to, use just the horrors that are being inflicted on people as fucking debate prep or whatever without caring what, while being on the side that justifies that shit. I can kind of believe anything.
Nothing. Which begs the question, why? Why is everyone being...
Let me just say, this is kind of an aside. Occasionally we talk about, like, security culture, in left organizations and stuff like that. I don't mean here on stream. I don't think I've ever talked about it on stream here. But, the subject, it comes up every once in a while. And one thing that I think does not get enough, is not understood enough, is that some of the best measures you can take in security culture in terms of making an organization that is difficult for informers to operate in is actually to have an ethic of just treating people decently and responding when people are abusive to other people in the organization. There was a great article. Let me find it. Here we go. It's called Why Misogynists Make Great Informants. And, and it talks about how, like, particularly the example that's given is an asshole by the name of Brandon Darby, who was an FBI informant for quite a while, got some people fitted up during the St. Paul Republican National Convention all the way back in, like, 2004, and was the whole time he was also, like, there was all sorts of stuff around SA with him, misogyny, all sorts of manipulative behavior and stuff like that. And these organizations open themselves up to this fucking snitch, basically because they were willing to tolerate that kind of behavior because of supposedly the good work that he allegedly did.
So silent about something that by all rights should be a massive sex and abuse scandal about one of online politics' biggest and most controversial figures. As I said at the beginning of this video, this is not just a story about a man, but about power and how power works. And it's not a story that is new. At the center of the scandal is a concerted effort by Destiny's friends, associates, and community to conceal and hide his wrongdoings by any and all means. This includes deleting any mentions of the leaks on Discord.
Oh, Omni-Liberal Studios. Isn't that... We watched a video of his on stream, like, a couple of months ago, where he was talking about this media company he wanted to create that sounded like absolute dog shit. And I believe the name he came up with, which also sounds like absolute dog shit, was Omni-Liberal Studios.
Discord and Reddit, obfuscating the issue by acting as if the leaks only contain private sexual behaviors and therefore anyone else.
God, has he ever had a good haircut? Has Destiny ever had a good fucking haircut?
Business, or even offering money to the victims in exchange for their silence. Now, if one were to say that the creators around Destiny were simply remaining silent about this scandal in order to continue to capitalize on their friendship with Destiny and have access to his audience, this would be misleading oversimplification. Some people are doing that for sure, and some people in fact are even going out of their way to run interference to protect Destiny from the consequences of his actions.
Like, either his hair looks like a first grade class photo, or it looks like he woke up, head first on the bottom of a fucking bin.
Actions. But this is not a story about the nefarious deeds of evil men and women, but about power. And it turns out that, in fact...
How often are we... I mean, I thought that this was a really cool image before. But, I mean, and as an introductory image, it's not bad at all. I mean, but why are we constantly coming... I mean, I feel like the more I look at it, the less I like it. For one thing, I think it may be AI slop.
A lot of people are simply afraid. Afraid of what they have
don't overuse your assets.
A moral right or a public sanction to say, given the sensitive nature of these leaks, and afraid of the retribution of Destiny and those in his audience if they say something that angers him. A very large creator in YouTube commentary called Nicholas DeOrio.
Never heard of this guy. Anyone, chat, does this name mean anything to you?
Disgusted at the obvious sexual abuse and public coercion he was witnessing coming from Destiny and his defenders, and frustrated by the fact that people were beginning to lump him in with the others who were actively covering for Destiny, reached out to me directly to clarify why he was not being more vocal. He told me that, due to the sensitive nature of the material, despite being very confident about Destiny's guilt, he was very conflicted about coming forward against Destiny on behalf of the victims in this story about them voluntarily coming forward first. This was for two reasons. First, Destiny...
Okay, why is nobody concerned about the streamer Destiny potentially have not proven to have committed sex crimes? With the recent drama regarding his leaks, there's a strong chance Destiny himself is engaged in revenge porn to some nature, that he has sent private sexual material, identifiable people. Yeah, God.
He has a history of persuading his victims to come to his defense during a scandal. This happened once when a creator called Mr. Girl infamously attempted to accuse Destiny of lying about his relationship with Anna Voir, and in response, Destiny produced recent DMs between himself and Anna in which he got her to say that her own quoted claims against Destiny were false. And here it is notable that the fact that these DMs were between the alleged abuser and his victim...
Okay. Who's Max?
...did not seem to affect their credibility in the eyes of his audience. And second, because of Destiny's ability to use his hold over his massive audience to deal serious reputational and financial damage to people who he feels have slighted him, Nicholas referred explicitly here to the reputational damage Destiny inflicted on another commentary YouTuber called Chudlogic when he was approached by Destiny's now ex-wife Melina to give her side of the story about the Lauren Southern affair.
So I mean, I've privately told everybody I'm completely distancing myself from this guy, waiting for this bomb to go off. But I don't want to be the one to fucking light it. But I mean, I feel stupid. I sent Destiny like a message of support at the beginning of this,
Really?
About his dick getting leaked, not about this part of it. It's a shame.
Okay, that is a weird phrase. That's just weird phrasing. His dick getting leaked. That sounds like milking.
And that your dick got leaked or whatever, which I guess is still valid.
I didn't realize how bad it wasn't.
I mean, the thing is, every single stream of Destiny is a dick pic.
Initially, I thought the big thing was the Lauren Southern leaks. I thought, oh, he's got sex tapes. Okay, surprise.
Well, in the back of my head, I was thinking, why would all these people consent to their fucking nudes being exchanged?
Well, the answer
why
is
would
they
that
wouldn't.
even happen? They would absolutely not.
Also, why would they fuck Destiny? Is there a loyalty card? Do you win something?
They absolutely wouldn't. Yeah. And it's like, and I haven't really been able to talk about this with anybody because I'm at it's a huge risk to even discuss it because this guy's got such a chokehold over his community. But I legitimately think if it ever comes up, I absolutely think that's career ending, and I don't think that could be.
Okay, so he comments mostly on other creators' scandals and pop culture trends. Thank you for that, Riveroon.
Defended, and if it can be defended by his community, it would fucking completely destroy. I mean, yeah, his reputation's in the toilet. It could be lower.
It could be. It's also it's in the toilet with people who care to know.
Yeah,
and I would say it's like what's interesting the way that he talks about all this. Also the way Steve the Destiny talks about all of this when he's been like saying on stream, we've seen these clips of him saying that his reputation is shit already. And it's like, it's interesting because this is literally the first I'm hearing of any of it. In fact, I mean, and the only reason I saw that was because the video from the Surfs commenting on a President Sunday video about this showed up in my recommendations like just like 2 days ago. So somehow a serious lid was kept on it, because I would be, you know, if I'd heard about this like 6 months ago, I would be talking about it then.
No, I think this is a viral everyone story, video, like community-wide story. If this cover-up ever comes out,
What specifically would have to happen to trigger some kind of, you know, determinate position on this in public for you?
Wondering, I'm like putting ointment on my hands because it has been utterly freezing here for the past couple of weeks, and the result is that my knuckles are raw as shit. And so I'm putting Aquaphor on my hands. If you're wondering what like all the movement that you can see in the...
I mean, I'll be super candid about it. You would need to talk.
Yeah. Would you have to talk publicly? Or did you just have to see it?
No, I think I've already seen it. I think she needs to talk publicly, because if anything...
President Sunday's voice sounds a lot like Vush.
Comes down to it and Destiny convinces her privately to take that other... Look what happened with Chud Logic and Lauren Southern. He had Melina coming to him and telling him these things directly. And he was put in a position where he can either eat shit and be hated by that community and lose a huge percentage of his audience.
Wait, which community?
To the point where I had to pick up the other half of the slack and like help him out, right, to keep him afloat. Or he could just leak those messages and be justified immediately, and it would start like a huge conflict. And I guess he did the right thing by loyalty, but like...
By loyalty to who, though? I mean, is he loyal to anyone other than himself?
You know what I mean? It's like, if you don't have the person, then it's you fighting on behalf of somebody else. And I've seen this go down so many times with content creators, where if they don't have the support of the actual victim in the situation, you're fighting a losing battle from day one.
So, Prince...
That's interesting. I don't know anything about him. I think the first time I ever saw a video of his was actually having a go at Xanderhole, who had already more or less sort of detached himself from Vush's ass and decided to become a Biden dingleberry. So that's actually kind of an interesting little wrinkle. Okay.
Simply your concern is that you're going to
anyway,
take a pretty big financial / audience hit if you were to do
Well, I think there's a genuine risk that I'm going to get left out to dry here, because if she doesn't say anything, or even worse, if she comes out and says it's not true, then I'm fucked.
A lot of people who would otherwise potentially be ready to support the victims of Destiny's systemic abuse of female and male colleagues are stuck between wanting to call foul on some truly reprehensible behavior.
I'm getting sick of watching these moths just make the exact same movement over and over and over again. Totally unrelated to what he's talking about, but it's distracting, actually.
And the realization that if they did, there are so many ways to spin them as the villains through Destiny's further manipulation of the victims and of his massive...
Yeah, I mean, and we've already seen that he can make anyone... He can convince his assholes in his audience that basically anyone is not the villain. I mean, he's been doing that with Israel for 15 months. He's defended Kyle Shittentraus. Like... Clearly, his audience is willing to accept a certain amount of suspension of disbelief with him.
Following. Two particularly aggressive defenders of Destiny have been Not So Erudite and Dan...
Oh, is that who that is? Okay.
Saltman, who are both colleagues and close members of his inner circle. Both have gone out of their way either to dissuade attempts to bring up the issue of Destiny's non-consensual...
Yeah, here we go. There's this fucking... his first grade class picture haircut.
Sharing of intimate material of other people publicly, or to directly discourage his victims from speaking out or taking legal action. A major consequence of Destiny's silence and the silence of the people...
And here's being pulled out of a bin head first. Haircut.
Around him on this issue is that all of the negative consequences for these leaks have been borne by the victims, who are still being publicly shamed and harassed as I speak. However, faux concern for their well-being and their wishes to remain as anonymous and private as possible has been used to shut down any discussion where Destiny might be held responsible for endangering them in the first place. The perverse result is that Destiny's crimes against these people are effectively being weaponized as their own defense against others who would call him out for them. For example, when one community
defended him on what exactly? Sorry. What did he defend him about?
member known as
There's
Fairy
so many
questioned
things that
not
could
so
be
erudite's
referring to.
continued association with Destiny, given the revelation that he had been sharing porn of people he streams with without their consent, and given not so erudite's own avowals of being a mental health expert and a feminist. Not so erudite claimed that she was in communication with the victims behind the scenes and that they didn't want any additional attention. And so therefore, not so erudite was actually doing the moral thing by not holding Destiny accountable for victimizing them in the first place and for personally continuing to profit from the reputation
Oh, well, that's
of
convenient.
Destiny by whom she was employed. When pressed on this, Not So Erudite promptly terminated the conversation. But it turns out that Not So Erudite was telling the truth when she said she was communicating on behalf of the victims, because as it turns out, she was from very early on the primary middleman negotiating the price of their silence.
Okay. Details. Jesus. Like, I mean, what... This is like... I thought I had seen some... what I'd seen of him was already pretty fucked up, but this is really bad. I mean, I was just having that experience last night. I don't know if any of you follow Lewis Rossman on YouTube. Sort of a niche tech creator. Actually, very interesting from a degrowth perspective, because what he does is he repairs motherboard components on Apple devices, which is something Apple really does not like people to do and makes as difficult as possible. And so he is constantly like calling out all the planned obsolescences, and essentially, I mean, he doesn't use the term. I don't know what he's had to say about degrowth. He's big on right to repair, but he was talking about, but I mean, it's overproduction. Hey, Phoenix. But anyway, there's a huge fucking tech channel called Linus Tech Tips. And a guy by the name of Steve over at a channel called Gamers Nexus, which is, if you want to watch videos about, like, really just nerding out, reviewing PC builds and components and all sorts of shit like that. It's a really enjoyable channel. He does a good he does good videos. But he did a video on some really, really ethically dodgy shit Linus Tech Tips had done over a year ago. And yeah, Linus had given a bullshit response shortly after that, and Steve of Gamers Nexus had called that out, and then that was kind of the end of it. And then suddenly Linus decided in the most manipulative way possible to start it up again. And so Lewis Rossman, who apparently is friends with Steve from Gamers Nexus, started talking even more about all of this, and just about what it says about the problems with influencer culture and stuff like that. He was pissed. It's like he gets pretty pissed off when he talks about Apple. Yeah, he does sound like he just downed a bottle of NyQuil. He sounds like Vosh on 0.75 speed. I think the fucking moths in this asset are hypnotizing me. But anyway, so he's talking about just how fucking unethical. Like, there were things that, like, Steve from Gamers Nexus hadn't even brought up in his video on the subject. And when you know them, it's like, that Linus is just absolutely a scumbag. Just absolutely fucked up. And so watching this, I can't help thinking of that. Hang on a second. I'm going to drop that link on there. To the extent that anyone's interested in tech creator insider baseball and discussions of, like, journalistic ethics and stuff like that, I mean, it's a good video. Hang on a second. I'm going to drop this in here. It's called Informative and Unfortunate How Linus Tech Tips Reveals the Rot in Influencer Culture. I mean, maybe after this, maybe we'll watch a little bit of it. I actually watched that last night. It's really good. And Lewis Rossman, I mean, I don't quite know about his politics. I mean, I'm totally on, on board with Right to Repair. I think he does good stuff on that. Occasionally he seems vaguely like libertarian or something like that, but I will say, like, watching him like fix Apple boards and things like that, which is what his stream mostly is, it's part of what like gave me some of the confidence to build PCs myself. Like, I mean, it's a good channel, and he has a cat, and so like he's a cat person. That actually always recommends a person to me. Unless there are, like, other reasons that discommend them
Enter
from me.
Pixie. Pixie is a tiny streamer who, like Destiny's wife...
She looks normal size. Like, or is this, like, a dollhouse that she's in? She doesn't look tiny.
Melina was visually identifiable in the leaks. Pixie had been working closely with Destiny since she turned 20 years old in 2019. And in addition to appearing on stream together regularly, Destiny also got her involved in paid positions organizing for canvassing projects, like with Progressive Victory, who he partnered with in 2024.
Oh, wait a second.
24?
Progressive Victory, that is the bullshit that Xanderhole was also flogging. Okay, so Xanderhole and Destiny are involved in the same bullshit little project.
And she would accompany him multiple times to large podcast appearances.
That explains so much, because Xanderhole was actually shitter on the subject of Gaza than I would have expected him to be. And if he's trying to... if he's trying to make nice with Steve the Destiny because they're working on the same shit, I mean, that sort of explains where that's coming from. That's interesting. I didn't know he was involved in that shit.
Such as the Whatever podcast, which he would pay for her to be flown out to. Pixie had, for a very long time, repeatedly tried to present herself as an example of a woman who...
It's interesting how he seems to surround himself with much younger women who all fit more or less the exact same type. Like, look at this picture. I mean... It's like... If you were like designing in a character builder and you had to make like 6 characters and you didn't really feel like putting much effort into it, you would end up with this degree of difference. He's just surrounded himself. I did high expectations of Xanderhole, not high, but I was still rather surprised at just how shitty he was initially. I would have expected him to be a little bit better than where he was. I was like, when I said in one of those first streams in 2024 we were looking at him, that every time I see him he's saying the worst shit I've ever heard him saying. It's true. Like, each time he seems to set a lower standard than the already low standard that I'd seen him set previously.
Pixie had, for a very long time, repeatedly tried to present herself as an example of a woman who could succeed as a part of Destiny's orbit without being a member of his oft-rumored harem of women who offer him sexual favors in exchange for exposure and stream time. In light of these leaks, that image has obviously been shattered, and she has received the brunt of negative reactions to the scandal, since people who hate Destiny and hate the politics of the people in his group are eager to laugh at the hypocrisy of one of them, even if it means joining in the mass harassment of someone who is in fact a victim.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, Destiny's politics suck shit, and I do have a lot of side-eye for anyone who was already in that orbit, but that's still, like, the stuff he did is still fucked up, actually.
Of revenge porn. Unfortunately, Pixie did the worst thing that someone in her position could do. Rather than seek legal...
he should use this asset more. Like, that is supposed to be a likeness of him, like, in the Lincoln Memorial. Instead of using that same thing with the moths by the old-timey lamp and things like that, I've been getting sick of that. He should use this more often.
Recourse or make a public statement.
I mean, President Sunday, you're probably not listening, you probably don't give a fuck. But it's free advice, and it'll make your videos more watchable, I think, a little bit.
Announcing the violation of her consent and dignity that these leaks represented, she seems to have ultimately chosen to try and profit from the situation by extorting Destiny.
I mean, I will say, that is a bad look, but on the other hand, if somebody who's got a whole bunch of money and clout is trying to do some shit like that to you, I mean, let me just say, it's not that I think that it's a great thing to do, because you really ought to be, like, standing with the other people who have been victimized this way. But I can understand I can understand the impulse entirely.
An American citizen who finds themselves a victim of revenge pornography has several valid actions they can take. Let's go over 3. First, they can seek legal recourse. In fact, there is a federal law on the books as of 2022 that allows victims of non-consensual exchanging of explicit material to be compensated up to $150,000, and that's even if the leaks were not necessarily done maliciously, but only with reckless disregard for the consent of the victims. The victims may even have their identity concealed. Second, they may make a public statement denouncing the person who leaked the materials and violated their consent.
Okay, yeah, I mean, with
this can be done in conjunction with the first option I mentioned. And finally, they can choose to do nothing. They can stay silent and hope that it all blows over. And this is their right.
Yeah, I mean, true.
But Pixie did not do any of these. In an exchange that I have learned has since been circulated among the entire commentary community on YouTube and virtually everyone in Destiny's circle, Not So Erudite can be seen haggling with Pixie over the amount.
Like, okay, there's clearly money, and yet they could not light her better? Like, put a fucking hair light on her. Her hair is literally blending into the background here. It looks like her head is just, like, fading into the fucking wall. Like, for $20, you can get a light that you can put over her head that will give her some definition. Like, look at this. Look at the way my head is shaped. With the hair definition and stuff. That is a cheap ass light that I got off Amazon like a year ago. That is how simple. They couldn't be bothered to do that.
Amount of money that would be appropriate for Destiny to pay her to not involve the court system or to denounce him publicly. First, Pixie uses the implicit threat of her impending suicide and a scheduled note announcing it to pressure Destiny to pay out a significant sum of money, and then later switches to vague threats of public denunciations and legal action. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, her friend Straight Raid was colluding to advise Destiny to offer to help her financially as penance to stave off her threats of self-harm.
I mean, and here's the thing, it's like, I don't know anything about her. And under those circumstances, I would not, like, be so quick to just assume that that talk of self-harm is meant to be manipulative. Like, that is not an unusual sort of thing for somebody to be thinking of when they're in a situation like this. So, I mean, I don't know. President Sunday, not good. Not great. I mean,
a situation that would obviously be a reputational disaster for Destiny. Note, Straight Raid has also explicitly said that she did not consider the situation serious enough to warrant a wellness check. As revealed in earlier DMs between Pixie and Destiny...
Yeah, but the thing is, we've established that his orbit is full of shitty people who don't seem to be all that caring about people. So maybe it wouldn't warrant define a wellness check. Are we talking about sending the cops there? Because, like, I mean, if I were really seriously worried about somebody, they're like the last people I would send, because I want them to be alive and unharmed, and that's not what often happens when you send the cops on a wellness check, so that doesn't mean anything, actually.
Prior to this conversation with Not So Erudite, Pixie and her friend Straight Raid had used the specter of her impending suicide to alarm Destiny enough that he would be receptive to suggestions of financial compensation. Apparently, Pixie was hopeful from the beginning that she could get as much as a $1 million payout from Destiny, which Straight Raid had to repeatedly talk her down from. The condition of this financial compensation is, of course, Pixie's continued silence. This would seem to imply that Pixie's decision to not go public is not because she is afraid of the repercussions, or else she wouldn't be threatening Destiny directly with legal action or public denunciations.
Well, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, the thing is that people will make threats to do things specifically because they don't want to do them. If you're just gonna do them, you fucking do it. Then it's like, then you just fucking do it. But if you don't want to do it, if you feel like maybe it could backfire heavily on you, it could backfire heavily on you, even though it shouldn't. I mean, then you might do something like this. Then you might prefer to make threats and try to stay quiet.
But because she wants to...
I can see reasons why somebody would do it,
personally,
go like that.
off of extorting Destiny, who also, it must be remembered...
I mean, honestly, fuck him. I mean...
is a victim...
Everybody, hashtag everybody extort Destiny.
...of revenge porn. Destiny may be the one responsible for the leaker having the images in the first place.
Pictured in this image during a week in which he had constant constipation.
He shared them recklessly, not maliciously. And of course, he has endured public humiliation as well for this.
There's no sign of it. What's this guy an extra from Reservoir Dogs?
Destiny's close friend and podcast co-host Dan Saltman, the CEO of Redact, had also reportedly gone behind Destiny's back to advise Pixie to make...
I'm very uncomfortable with the way you can not see fucking Destiny's hands when he's filmed from the waist up.
...financial demands of Destiny, as well as to ask her to dissuade Destiny from taking legal action against Kiwi Farms for hosting the leaks. Pixie has since said nothing.
Oh god, it would have been so... That's a pity. Because the thing is, it would have actually been really great. I mean, the mutually assured destruction means like Kiwi Farms absolutely needs to go. I thought they kind of had been shut down, but apparently not, because they're evil fucks. I mean, that's a Nazi site. So I mean, if this had resulted in a mutually assured destruction situation where it wrecks both Destiny and KF, that would actually be cool. I mean, I would be there for that.
Publicly. There has been no evidence of legal proceedings being pursued, and she has seemingly ceased communications with the people she was previously working with, instead posting on X about taking the LSAT in pursuit of law school. It appears as though...
Well, I mean, law school is expensive, actually. If she's suddenly preparing to go to law school, that could, and I stress could, it's pure speculation, mean that financially things have improved for her in a substantial kind of a way.
Her attempt to extort Destiny has probably paid off, albeit at the expense of every other person Destiny has victimized in the past and will victimize in the future.
Okay, so there we are. That was the Destiny abuse machine, and Jesus, that was rank. So that we could watch some more Destiny shit. We have some Pim Tool. And there's also some more of this Kaitlyn Bennett bullshit as well. Also, we'd started to watch last week Tim Pool on the Chinese manipulation of TikTok, where he had just got done saying to this other chud in his panel that obviously the chud was biased when he opposed fucking the ban of TikTok because he had a whole lot of followers, and then Tim's like, guess how many followers I got on TikTok, and he sort of draws it out, and it turned out actually he had 0 followers on TikTok because he'd been banned from there for being a piece of shit, basically. Okay, we got one for Pim Tool, we got one for more Destiny. And, okay. Let's see. Well, we started to watch one with an anarchist called Xander.
So yeah,
who was completely schooling her. And honestly, I mean, I'm not sure. Where is US? Is USF, is that University of South Florida? Yes, it is, in Tampa. I'd never heard of that before. I'm just kind of... I'd be interested in talking with this guy, actually, just because he's so well prepared.
He's totally a fascist.
I think so, yeah. I think you both are, actually.
I'm a fascist?
Yeah.
What is fascism? Like, what standards?
I mean, see, watch this. Okay, it backed up a bit, apparently. Oh, no, wait, it backed up all the way.
Maybe. I can't say.
Well, I'm telling you, I don't. You think I believe that?
And like a master race, or
You think I believe that?
maybe.
I mean,
can't say-
she is kind of fucking racist.
Telling you, I don't.
I mean, I don't believe a lot of what you say on
Nice fake laugh there. That's
face value, but
Yeah, what's
yeah, he just outright says, yeah, he doesn't believe a word she's saying anyway.
example? Why do you think I believe that there's a master race? So you think I'm racist?
I mean,
Well, I mean, you are.
I never claimed that exactly. I think a lot of what you do is really like.
Tell me what you really think about.
Well, he's trying to. Stop interrupting him. I want to hear what he has to say, actually.
About me.
I mean, I don't really like you, to be honest, if you want me to be completely honest, but...
Yes, please do. Come on, unpack.
Completely honest, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you like me?
Because you suck.
Because you stand for a lot of things I wholeheartedly disagree with.
Okay. Does that mean you have to dislike me? Or
yes.
We can just disagree?
It depends. Like, there's a spectrum of disagreement you can have with people.
Yeah.
Like, I can't... Of course, it would be unreasonable for you to expect everyone, you know, to, like, be 100% on board with your same beliefs all the time.
We
because
actually
that's not
saw
gonna happen.
this
But
yesterday,
there are certain values that
part
we
of
have
it,
that
so
we
I'm
hold
gonna
dearly.
speed through it.
And there are certain standards, like, I mean...
What about me do you dislike the most?
I don't think that really matters.
Well, like, but you say you don't like me. What is it about me that you don't like? Because, like, you don't know me. You just know my political opinions.
Yeah, I don't really care. Like... I mean, like, yeah, sure, but you're also a public figure, not just like a person who I know in my personal life.
Yeah.
And so I think what you do has much more impact on society at large. And, like, I don't know, if I had a family member or something that was like, this had a similar personality to you, like, that would be kind of whatever, but, like, you know, that person wouldn't have power, influence, or as far as the reach as you have, like, you're like a media personality. So...
Alright.
And I don't really care about, like, good versus bad people, I care about
Yeah.
good versus bad beliefs, you know?
Yeah,
so, like,
okay.
I don't want to just say, like...
We're way past this. Did we watch the whole thing?
Trans people and stuff like that. What
Yeah, no,
policies
that's one
would
of your
hurt?
favorite subjects.
That's one of my favorite subjects. Actually, it's been forced down my throat to be a
Oh, that's right. That's right. She does. She hates talking about trans people. It's been forced down in her throat. She just constantly talks about it, not because she wants to. That's
subject
right.
that I even think about. I prefer not to.
Not really, you don't have
It
to
has
think,
been.
You don't
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
think
maybe
about
some-
trans people if you don't want to, you know?
No, but
They
the
seem to, like,
ideology
I
has
think they live
been.
rent-free in your head, to be honest.
They live rent free in my head?
Yeah,
Yes.
like...
I think I live rent free in your head. What was your name? What was his name? I don't remember.
Xander.
He's right there. You can ask him.
Xander.
I mean, I haven't... I mean, there's very few people I've seen that, like, make their entire career just, like, defaming an entire group of people, so...
Who did I do that to?
Well, I mean, we just said trans people.
Trans people? I mean, I'm not that forgetful.
Okay, what did I do to trans people?
I mean, she really does not. She's just not good at this because she's not coming off of this looking good.
Well, for one,
because this guy's prepared. He didn't come here. This isn't somebody who is like randomly buttonholed with a fucking microphone. Yeah, I mean, he clearly had prepared remarks.
I mean,
And I'm
I
there
get
for
you
them.
confused all the time with people like Chaya Reichik and such, but, you know, from what I remember, though, you used to do these college interviews where you, like, tried to make it look like people were believing insane things when they're, like, asking
Except she's so bad at this.
about, like, urinals and tampons and bathrums and stuff.
Yeah, that's
And
the
you
one
thought
that
you
people.
were so dumb. You were, like, so dumbfounded that most people just, like, did not give a shit, and you could not handle that idea.
No, I didn't handle. I actually slept very poorly that day because I could not handle it. I couldn't handle it at all. Yeah. All right, Xander. It was great talking to you. I wish you all the best. All the best
Oh,
in
that
everything
was the
you do.
end of
and
it. We did see the whole thing. Okay. Well, she really isn't. Like, everybody is better prepared than she is. Okay, here we go. Oh, no, wait.
What do you think he'll do in the first 100 days? Because
Kamala voter says,
so
what
when do they
about her
become
child?
babies?
When they are born.
What are they before?
A fetus and a clump of cells.
Okay. So do you?
Like, okay, is this what we're supposed to be outraged about?
Think your daughter was not a baby 10 minutes before you gave birth? No. What was she? What were you growing?
Like she already said, a fetus.
She is growing. Like I said, she is fully developing and stuff like that. Right. And like I said, the day I give birth, she is a full-on baby and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like I said, it comes down to the woman's choice when it comes to what they decide what they would like to.
Like, who does she think this makes look bad?
To do with that baby or not.
So what were you growing inside of you if your daughter was not a baby?
She already answered this question, a fetus.
He was developing into a baby.
Like, yeah, like that's just...
First off, did you stay up all night or did you just wait till the morning?
Both. Both. So I stayed up till about like 11, and then my husband kept telling me, you need to go to bed. And I'm like, just one more peek. And then I woke up, had to go to the bathroom, checked at like 2 in the morning, and I was like, okay, if we get this state, we might be good. And then I took my daughter to school, and I really wasn't, honestly, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't happy.
You weren't happy?
No,
so that was your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, you can see why she picked her. Because she's got the blue hair. She immediately goes after the unorthodox hair colors.
Weren't happy?
Not at all.
Okay. Why not?
Because I think it's one of those things. I am a woman, and it's one of those things. I do believe in women's rights. I do believe she can do a lot of change with our country and stuff like that. We've already had
she was showing no particular interest in doing that.
Trump in that aspect, and clearly we did not get what we were seeing out of that.
Oh, well, liberty has to do with her show in that she's kind of against liberty.
And I think the world definitely needs something a little different at the end of the day. And
different to what, though? And I mean, yes, different to Trump is not a bad thing. Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of things would be better that were less like Trump. But, Harris's whole thing was that she refused to differentiate herself meaningfully from fucking Biden and his...
I do believe in what she stands by and what stands for. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I vote for her, and I vote for a lot of things with women's rights, and not just that, but also equality. Basically, we're all human at the end of the day, and I think it's very important for all of us to come together and be one and not be so diverse and against each other at the end of the day. So,
okay.
So when you except for Palestinians and immigrants and trans people.
Say women's rights. Is there any specific policy of hers that you were like, oh yeah, that is my right. That is something that affects me directly?
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to women's rights, I think we should have the right to our own choice with our own bodies, whether we want contraceptive, whether we want to be able to have the option if we do get raped or something like that, and that situation happens where we can take control. And
again, she sort of zeroes in on the people who can actually make the argument in a way that she seems completely incapable of taking advantage of.
I believe the government should be involved with.
Half the time, she ends up, she's supposed to be dunking on them. That's the whole point of this. And instead, it ends up just reading like a normal interview show, or they just absolutely dunk on her.
A woman's body or rights at the end of the day. So it's one of those things, before I had my daughter, I actually had a miscarriage. And guess what the option was? An abortion. So it's one of those things, basically at the time, it was, hey, if it happens naturally, cool, but if it doesn't, you still have to go down that route where technically, yes, it does fall into an abortion. So my heart does definitely go out to a lot of women that, down the road, they do want to keep their baby. They want that baby, and it's 8 months down the road and something happens. And now they're in critical condition where the fact that they literally have to be so life-threatened to where
look at her just sort of staring gormlessly.
Can't get that as an option, and that's just unfortunate. And then that mom can leave 5 children behind. So at my point, that's where I do stand on. I believe women do have that right, and I don't think a man should make that choice for a woman at all.
Okay, so just to clarify, you think that when a woman experiences a miscarriage, they get an abortion?
I mean, actually, it's funny that she says it that way, because actually the medical term, the Latin medical term for a miscarriage is spontaneous abortion. Abortus spontaneous. Literally, that is the technical term for a miscarriage.
No, not necessarily. No, it's one of those things, so it depends where you're at. If, say, you're 6 months pregnant and stuff like that, and there's complications that are physically happening, and the doctor's like, hey, this is what's going on, your baby's not going to survive. But depending on what state you're in and stuff like that, that can be a whole different ballgame. They have to be like, well, what's going on with the baby? Is this happening? Is that happening? There's a lot that has to escalate before they can physically make that decision. So for me and stuff like that, when I did have that situation, it's just kind of like, again, I don't want somebody to tell me I have to wait till I'm basically on my deathbed before they can physically make a full...
again, by this point, there is no... she's, like, completely killing any chance for Kaitlyn to come up with spin any kind of bullshit, because now she's sitting here pointing out that what Kaitlyn's position that she's going to at some point start arguing for is, basically torturing pregnant people.
Situation where, oh, she's sepsis, this is what's been happening kind of deal.
Right. To clarify, just because we don't want to spread any misinformation, there is no state in the country that prohibits a woman from receiving care in the effect that she needs a DNC or something when the fetus is not alive.
Right.
There are a number of states that actually do make it illegal, or at the very least, extremely legally risky in that situation.
So I guess I know how you feel about Amendment 4, right? What do you think that says about the people of Florida that they rejected Amendment 4?
It makes me very sad. It makes me very sad. I do feel we're definitely really close to where we needed to be and stuff like that. Again, having that option to have that choice. At the end of the day, depending where you're at, whether it was, again, rape or something that you have complications down the road, having that as an option, healthcare shouldn't be an option. It should always be there for you. You should always have that for you. So, like I said, at the end of the day, it's one of those things. A woman should have a choice over her body.
So Amendment 4 was to put into the Constitution the point of viability.
Yep.
And then they also added protections for rape, incest, and the health of the mother. And so you don't agree with that?
No, I feel like, again, like I said, if a woman gets raped, or even my daughter got raped at 14 years old, it's one of those things at the end of the day, like, we should have that choice.
So the amendment would allow that choice.
Right, allow that choice. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So what was wrong with the amendment?
Nothing was wrong with the amendment. It just did not pass.
Like, that's what she said the first time. She already fucking said this.
As in for a woman to have a physical abortion and stuff like that, whether it's rape, it's incest, or it's just unwanted. Maybe you're in a situation like, hey, I've done everything under the sun, whether it's protection, whether it's an IUD, whether it's birth control and stuff like that. And things just do happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is the law right now.
Yes.
That is the law right now.
No, it isn't.
You can receive in Florida, you can receive all that care.
No, you can't. That's the reason there was the amendment. That's the reason the amendment was needed.
So, like, again, with...
Well, let me ask you this. Is it just like, would you be in favor of banning abortions in every other case except medically necessary or rape or incest? No. So you think abortion should be allowed for any reason?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, okay, no, we'll be right there. We'll be right there.
What the fuck is this? Was she ordering a pizza?
That was my babysitter calling. I have to go. My baby is crying, and she's like, you have to pay me $1 million to deal with this crying baby right now.
Oh, wow, she's gonna slag off her babysitter to her fucking audience? I hope she has the hardest time getting childcare.
I'll come feed your kid. So I need your help. If you want me to continue coming out here and creating this content that you love, go to patreon.com/Kaitlyn Bennett. $5 a month gets you into my private Facebook group where we can chat one-on-one.
When it comes to a cutoff, whether it be, 8 weeks, 16 weeks and stuff like that. But if a woman say she's 8 months, I do not feel...
Like, she isn't even finding anything to say. I mean, she lied about the law in Florida, but she's not even finding anything to say. But we are closing in on it now.
Just out of nowhere, she's like, I just decided I don't want it anymore. No.
You think that should not be allowed?
No, I don't. I think at a certain point, you should know kind of in that point. But when it comes to medical and stuff like that, that's where it's very, very important, where we do have to have that in play to give that woman, her life at the end of the day. Because if it's physically costing her life where she's in a situation...
because the woman just decides that they don't. 8% of abortions are elective reasons because the woman just decides that elective reasons.
To actually have an abortion. It's not like we're just going out killing babies.
I was trying to skip to find fucking Kaitlyn saying some bullshit, and I skipped into the middle of it.
Well, 98% of abortions are elective reasons.
Citation needed.
Because the woman just decides that they don't want to be a mom yet.
I find it funny that she's probably one of the people who pretends to be really angry about singular they, and here she is singular theying the woman.
In the financial position, they don't have a partner, and that statistic comes from the Guttmacher Institute, which is...
well, if it comes from a right-wing anti-choice think tank, then obviously it's got to be true.
The research arm of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
So 98% of abortions are elective just because they don't want them. It's not medical, it's not rape, and it's not incest.
Yeah.
But you think that's totally okay. It doesn't have to be a medical emergency. It doesn't need to be an emergency.
I mean, if that figure were in fact true, then good. I mean, that's fine. Like, why? Yes. Damn it. Yes.
I don't know the reason behind it, and again, I don't know the percentages on how many people actually physically get that done without medical and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's a reason for it, and it's one of those things.
I mean, like literally, the things that she was listing there were reasons. Like, where it isn't just a whim. It's like you literally could not afford to have a kid because, I mean, the thing is, this country has no meaningful social safety net. I mean, if you have a kid and you don't have any money, you're both fucked completely.
Mom decided, like, hey, I'm in a situation, this is what happened, or, again, I don't really know their specific situation on that aspect of it. I just know that that's your body, you should have the right to do that. I don't think people should ever abuse it.
I mean, I love the outrage bait in the title, and yet it's just her just being very reasonable and Kaitlyn having negative amount of stuff to say.
Like, if you're a woman, then you came into the clinic 5 times, now that's a problem.
Now, how does that make it a problem, but the person who came in once isn't a problem?
Well, if you're doing like 5 or 6 times, you're just having abortions, I think we need to rethink other things.
But why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because now they're just abusing it, and now they're just kind of using it as a typical birth control. That's not birth control.
But wouldn't that be okay if it were legal and you don't support?
Bullshit here. Like, if somebody is finding themselves in that, 5 times in that position, first of all, I have my doubts that actually is a realistic fucking hypothetical, but there's probably other shit going on, yes, but that doesn't make it an abuse of it. It's like you still have every right to fucking do it.
Or limiting abortions for any reason.
If it was legal, having certain laws in place after a certain time, after like, hey, you can't go in like 10, 20 times. To me now that just...
Why should there be a law on that? Because, like, maybe, there are people who, if they get pregnant at all, that can actually potentially kill them. There are all sorts of situations like that. Somebody could actually be in that situation. I mean, a restriction on the number of times? Like, what kind of bullshit is that? You get a card to punch? Okay, that's fucked up.
Shows a physical problem, like, you're not doing what you need to do to prevent yourself.
Like, who gives a shit?
Not taking care of yourself as a person, you're just kind of going in and be like,
well, if they're going in, they are taking care of themselves as a person. Shut the fuck up.
This is just the easiest route, let's just do that.
It isn't the easiest route, though. In what universe is that the easiest route? In what fucking universe is that the easiest route? Like, what are the other options that which involves going through all kinds of bullshit and waiting periods and, like, fucking reactionary goons stalking you at the entrance to Planned Parenthood and all sorts of other bullshit. Like, in what universe is that something somebody's gonna do just because it's the easy way out?
No, I don't think that at all. I think at the end of the day...
in fact... I would, if somebody's, like, needing to come in for, a termination that many times, that begins to sound like they probably, like, somebody's fucking with their birth control or something. I mean, but, that should not be held against them, and it certainly shouldn't limit their right to do it. I mean, it sounds like there's something else going on that they might need help with, yes. But the idea that you should, like, quantitatively limit, it's fucked up.
Like, if I end up getting pregnant, I should have that right to go in to make that decision for myself.
But if a woman's been in there 5, 6 times, and they're, like, having a punch card because they've been in there for so many... So what? But why? Because if it's okay to go in once, why wouldn't it be okay to go in 5 or 6?
Fucking hell. I mean, yeah, that is... I have to say, like, worst person you know makes entirely valid point, yeah. Because, I mean, this begins to sound like something... there's just something really fucked up about this hypothetical that she's decided to run with.
Times. What's the difference?
Because, again, that just shows how irresponsible they're being. Like,
how No, it doesn't. You don't. All you know about this is that somebody has needed a termination a certain number of times. You don't know anything about why. Like, this is a fucking hypothetical. And in this hypothetical, you know nothing about what's going on in this person's life that this is happening. So it's kind of fucked up to assume that if she needs a termination and that doesn't reflect poorly on her, but if somebody else does, that means they're being irresponsible. That's fucked up, actually.
If it's happened the first time, you as a person, you made that physical decision, hey, I financially can't afford this.
Yeah, okay, but it is time, so we are going to close out with some more porcupines.
This is Teddy, one of our North American porcupines. Teddy, come here. Would you like...
So, as we have this porcupine, this lovely porcupine footage, let me just thank everyone for joining in. I hope you've enjoyed the stream.
Oh my goodness.
And if you enjoy the stream,
You
please
have it?
consider supporting the
Don't
stream,
drop it.
contributing to the Inessa
Here's
Almol
Teddy in his
Translation
corn on the
Project.
cob.
It's a real lifeline for me and for
He
the
loves
English
corn.
language Marxist canon.
Teddy, can you share your corn with me? Can I have it? No. Let me have it.
Listen to this little guy.
You won't share?
Fuck you, get your own corn. God, look at those claws. Those are serious claws.
Oh, really?
Those little noises.
Okay, you have your corn on the cob now.
Yeah, he clearly does, and he is not relinquishing it. Have a good night, and I will be back on Friday.
Someone, if a woman's been in there 5-6 times,
Shut
and
the
they're
fuck
like
up,
having
Caitlin. And
punch
also,
card because they've been.
like, extremely classist blue hair. Have a good night, and see you on Friday at 11:30 p.m.